So this evening, Jeremy Lazarus, welcome. You are one of the presenters at the NLP conference this year. Very much looking forward to your presentation, which is using perceptual positions with groups and teams.
Yes.
Now I have to say, perceptual positions is one of my favorite things within NLP. I think it brings so much insight. So do tell me a little bit more about you and your presentation. Now, obviously, I'm just going to say I know an awful lot about you anyway, because you were one of my trainers on my NLP journey. But for the benefit of everybody else.
Sure. Thanks, Karen. So look, thank you for asking me. Really good to see you. My background, so I had 18 years in the world of finance. So I'm a qualified accountant, qualified corporate treasurer, although obviously I don't practice anymore. I was in the City of London in the financial industry for 6 years, management consultant with Ernst & Young for 4 years. I worked for a major food and dairy company for 5.5 years as group chief accountant. And then I was finance director of a restaurant chain called Yo Sushi, which at the time I only had 2 restaurants. Now it's probably got, well, 10 times that, 20, hundreds maybe, I don't know, I've lost track. And it's a long story, but in 1999, I quit my job. Why? Because I wanted to make a difference. For me, people are way more important than the numbers. The numbers are a reflection of the people. That's what I found. I quit, as I say, just to become a coach. I bumped into a friend who was a coach. She said, go and do NLP. So I did an introduction then, loved it, practitioner, master practitioner. In 2000, became a trainer. Since that point, I've been training and coaching all sorts of people, big businesses, small businesses, NHS, charities, trade unions, and elite athletes. So really wide range. And I became a master trainer in, I think it's 2007. So that's me. I love what I do what I love.
Which is perfect, really. And as a former accountant myself, I can understand why you may not have stayed in that profession.
Exactly. Yeah. It's funny though, people actually have got a grudging respect for accountants. So when I stand up at the start and say, give my background, even if they don't like accountants, they say, okay, this guy knows a little bit about business and knows how to apply it. So,
yes. I mean, that is a very valid background, isn't it? So,
it is.
Yes. So as I said, your presentation is using perceptual positions with groups and teams.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit more about that.
Okay. Well, you mentioned that perceptual positions is a really important technique, one that you like. I think it's amazing. At some point, I probably use it with every single one of my coaching clients, possibly more than once. And typically when it's taught on courses, there's, NLP courses, there's, someone to relate conflict or a situation where they want to gain greater insight into one particular person. Well, as I've worked with it over the years, I've realized that you can use it in numerous ways. So for example, can I say this, Karen, or am I giving too much away about the presentation?
Please do.
Okay. So things like if you're as an NLP coach working with someone who themselves has got different people that they want to gain insight into, so you could use perceptual positions for that. If you're a trainer of NLP, and let's say you're doing a workshop where you want people to know about NLP and experience it, but you either don't have the time or it's not appropriate to do a full, whatever, hour and a half to 2.5 hour session on perceptual positions, so you can take them through it as a group. Now, there's a lot of setup, and I'll talk about that at the conference, but it's completely feasible to give everyone in the group a real kinesthetic experience of what perceptual positions is about and how useful it is for them.
Oh, brilliant.
And I've done that numerous times with groups.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense now. Yes, that makes much more sense. Brilliant. Yeah. So what will delegates take away from your session? Well,
they'll take away different ways to use it, as the title says. It does what it says on the tin. So ways to use NLP. Yeah, exactly. So if the delegates are coaches and they coach people who the clients perhaps may have want to see a different perspective of a group of people. So they'll know how to do that. They'll know how to, if they're trainers, they'll know how to use it to teach people about perceptual positions on a workshop without having, do that in 15 or 20 minutes rather than 2 hours.
Yeah.
If they're consultants or internal coaches or work within organizations, how to work with groups. So for example, I've done this with a sales team who are looking to get into a particular client or a particular type of client.
Right.
You can use perceptual positions with the sales team to help them to see that. Or with and I've done this in the NHS and other organizations where you've got, if you like, some kind of multidisciplinary team. So within, let's say, operating theatres, there are different types of people. You've got, the surgeons, you've got the anaesthetists, you've got the scrubs, the people who prepare,
all the instruments,
instruments, and also to make sure the people are clean. So and the healthcare assistants, etc. So you've got different types of people, plus the patients, of course.
Yes.
So
let's remember them.
Exactly. So to help a group of maybe 30, 40, 50 people who work in the theatres, operating theatres, to work even more effectively, because they'll see and really appreciate the point of view and perspective of other team members, and some of the challenges which they didn't realize that their colleagues faced. So again, it helps them to work more effectively together. And you can use, the Disney pattern. So to think creatively, so you can use it I've done this with a group of 100 engineers, how to think creatively. So there's so many applications, so that the people who come along will know how to use perceptual positions with those groups, of those types of situations, and any others that people ask questions about. And
that's very powerful, to be able to take a group through perceptual positions that quickly. Because I know I used to do some volunteer work with the scout leaders, and perceptual positions for them was something that was really, really valuable. But as you say, sort of taking one person through it as a demo and a quick thing, it's a couple of hours. To be able to take everybody through that in one go would have been hugely valuable.
Exactly. I mean, to teach it properly, so they've got enough knowledge to be able to do it on a workshop, it will take an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. So, Jeremy, is there anything that delegates can do beforehand to give them a deeper experience during your session?
Yeah, I think assuming people are NLP practitioners, which I think they will be on this course. So just to revise the perceptual positions technique. So to look through their own study manual, or to read up on it. There's plenty of information on the website, on various websites or the internet. So just to gen up. So I don't really want to have to be going through the basics of how you do perceptual positions with an individual coachee.
Yeah.
So just to revise, basically, that would help.
Perfect. Well, I mean, all our delegates are practitioner or above, so it's always a good idea to just check in, as you say, and revise those particular things. Polish the techniques.
Exactly. Yeah. And also, I think they could come with some ideas of how they would want to use it with a group, or how they might use it with a group. So hopefully the examples I've got will answer their questions, and if it doesn't, then they can ask in the Q&A, and I'll answer as best I can. So to come with some ideas about how they could use it with groups, or any concerns they have actually about using it with groups.
Of course, and everybody's situations are different, so there might be, they've got an idea around, would it work with X, Y, Z? And to be able to actually just test that out is a brilliant opportunity.
Or the sort of, what happens if there's a couple of people who don't want to do it, for example. So those kind of what if questions. So if they come to the session with that in mind, I'll do my best to answer them.
Perfect. So as you know, Jeremy, as an ardent conference supporter and presenter, this year's conference, like last year's, is it's virtual again, courtesy of the pandemic. So how are you planning on adding value in a virtual environment?
Well, generally, I think the virtual environment, sure, there's some downsides, but I think there's a lot of upsides. I think you and I were speaking at the time of lockdown in the UK in March 2020. I was right in the middle of an NLP diploma program. So the first module was in the hotel, and the second module is like after the Prime Minister announced lockdown. So what do we do? And we actually ran it on Zoom. So I had a very steep learning curve. So very steep. So I think generally the virtual environment allows people from all over the world to be present. You know, I had a practitioner course last year, and there were people from Tokyo, and that would not have happened. Because I do modular practitioner courses, and we were talking also because it'll be recorded, it'll give up people the opportunity to watch it over and over again, or at a time that suits them. Even if I guess you have several presentations going on at the same time.
Same as you or normal conference.
So that was one of the things. Please say this in the nicest possible way. But one of the things I really didn't like about the conference when it was in person was there were so many great sessions I wanted to attend, and I couldn't be in two places at once. So with this allows us to do it. In terms of what I would do to add value, I think it's, you know, I will just train people the best way I can. I've had a lot of experience doing it in person and on Zoom, so I don't know how to answer it other than the way
I think it's interesting because of the topic that you're presenting on, you know, perceptual positions. I mean, when we learn perceptual positions, it's a lot of it is around walking around the room. So even doing that in a virtual environment will be a learning in itself from the perspective of how people, you know, how trainers or how coaches can actually do that within the confines of a computer screen.
Exactly, that's it. So I'll be teaching, exactly, that's a good point, Karen. Thank you. I will be teaching people how to do that. And I've got an idea of how I could actually demonstrate it without overtly demonstrating it. But that will be our secret, Karen. Okay.
It's your secret at the moment because I don't know it either.
No, don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone I'm going to do that though.
Yeah. No, it's something to look forward to, and certainly a carrot to entice people to come to your session.
Exactly.
So, I mean, as I've already mentioned, you know, in fact, I think we met at an NLP conference originally.
We did.
So many years ago.
Yeah.
So what does the NLP International Conference mean to you?
Well, there's a few points about that, Karen. So firstly, what does NLP mean to me? So what I'm about is making a difference on this planet, and I want people to be as successful as they possibly can be, however they define success. And I think NLP has got, or perhaps I should say quality NLP, when it's taught really effectively, has got a huge number of incredibly powerful tools that enables people to be, do, and have more of what they want to be, do, and have, basically. So that's NLP German, and I think this conference, I know this conference adds to that. So it adds to the knowledge of NLP that can be shared globally. And I think one of the benefits about the fact that it is being done virtually is that literally anyone and everyone who wants to on the whole planet could watch this if they wanted to. The conference itself, I've lost track probably 10, 15 times over the years, both yours and whoever organised it before you came on the scene. And it's great to be able to make a difference to hopefully, well, I'm going to sound a bit arrogant, it's not meant to, but you know, I've got some experience in this field and I want to be able to pass that on, and people can choose to use it in any way they see fit, but I want to give that information and make it available to people, as I know all the other speakers do. And I know the networking isn't quite the same virtually. You know, you can't go up and hug someone literally the way we could at various hotels, but virtually, you know, I feel connected with a wider community. So it means a lot to me, both in NLP, pure NLP, but also as a conference. And also, I might make you blush when I say this. So I know how much effort you and your team always put into these conferences. And I know it was a bit of a challenge when COVID came along, and we've spoken about this. So to see it be successful and to see you and your team provide something that's really valuable to the world, it touches me. So that's what this conference means to me.
Thank you. Thank you. That's lovely. Thank you, Jeremy. It's I'm so glad we're recording this. Thank you. So to remind everybody that's watching this, Jeremy Lazarus, you are presenting on using perceptual positions with groups and teams, and you're presenting on Saturday, the 21st of May at 11 a.m. That's 11 a.m. BST, because it will be summer by then. Thank goodness.
Yes.
And you're presenting for 90 minutes. So
Yes.
I think, sounds like it's going to be plenty of time to do perceptual positions, which is wonderful. So thank you again, Jeremy, for having this chat with me. Thank you so much for giving up your time, and really looking forward to seeing your presentation at the conference.
Thank you, Karen.